as vigilantes.
Correct. You're gonna use your circuitry.
Yeah.
Yes.
You use your what?
Your circuitry, your body.
Circuitry. Okay, so aren't we all also able to use our body, our circuitry, to manipulate other things?
Yes.
So if we're farming and we need to uproot some roots, are we not going to use a hoe simply because we have arms? Or are we going to utilize that tool for that job? Based on what? Based on your intelligence.
Yes.
Okay. So if in the Holy Quran that Prophet Nuh prepared for us, it says under religion that Allah, simply because the universe is mental. Since the universe is mental, you can use that mental energy to realize, oh, I'm in a different situation. As an example, if we're just having a conversation, then I'm using my mind and my words to have that conversation. But if you start swinging on me, then I'm activating this flesh. If you pull something out, I'm going to pull something out too. That's equal and opposite force. That's the law conforming to my will. The law is survival. Fight or flight.
And when man and everything that fell hit Atmos, survival of the fittest became the first law. Don't think man didn't kill whatever had to kill to get to that pool first. Know that.
And in law, it's
That's in
also
Circle 7.
in law it's prudent versus need, which I don't know perfectly off the top of my head.
I got you. Prudent versus nil says all men are independent of all laws except those prescribed by nature. He's not bound by any institutions formed by his fellow men without his consent. So again, that's the law conforming to your will, which is the same thing in the Bible where it says, "Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, thy will be done, thy will be done on earth here as it is in heaven." Where's heaven? Your mind. So if in your mind your heaven's not being reflected, then your will should correct it here on earth. So now in all of your mind is your heaven. Some pale-skinned person can just take your life whenever they want. Is that heaven to you? No. So your will should do something to correct that, right? Which you use your mind to manifest your will. So now when Noble Ali said, Allah
Jamal,
is the guider, huh?
pick up the mic so they can hear you.
When Noble Ali said that,
Oh. Sorry. That was the You don't like the echo?
So when Noble Ali said that it is Allah's will alone that guides the destiny of the Moorish Divine National Movement, what is he telling you?
Over
Our
here.
will alone.
It's our will that guides our movement. Our will, not me, not this guy, all of you. Hence, when it comes to governmental structure, the power is vested in who?
The people.
The people. Why? Because like Marcus Garvey said, all government is a ship upon which the people guide their destiny. So if Noble Ali said, enforce the Constitution, right? Take your place amongst the affairs of men, right? And you are a nation of people, right? Name one nation of people that's thriving that does not have a national defense force. Name one. I'll wait.
Oh, that's thriving.
Don't military generals use their mind to strategize? Right? Don't those military generals then use the populace, the people, to put those plans into action? Why do we keep refusing to do that? Why do we keep debasing ourselves from Allah and not taking action?
This way.
Why?
You're so silly.
Fear. Which means what? We're not even honoring what Noble Ali said. And in what? Caveat emptor, more of what? Upright, independent, fearless. So we are responsible for the situation that we're in. We can't keep blaming a criminal for being a criminal. They're criminals.
Right.
That's what they are. Just like you don't blame the devil for being the devil. That's just the devil. But guess what? The devil has his army, and guess who else has his army? Allah. So now you choose which side you want to be on. Based on what? You being active or passive. That's literally it. And don't think that this is some being in the front line with a gun, you have to kill somebody. That's
Come.
not what this is.
Nope. Come over here.
That's,
Other
you
way.
stand up and say, I'm a Moor, not black, you're fighting. You're on the front line. Are you dying? Nope.
That's how I fought.
You writing a writ to some European saying you owe them some shit. Are you on the front line dying? No, but guess what you're doing? Fighting. Because this is spiritual. It is your will. Your will. And the simplest thing of writing an affidavit, that's fighting back. Period. Any questions? Huh? How you start a writ? Great question. It depends on what the writ. It depends on the situation. So give me a situation.
Like, what if it's a writ, trying to tell them, you're trying to tell them the facts.
At a club? Okay, well. Let's say something. Okay, at a club. All right. At a club. So there's two problems. Well, there's only really one problem. The first problem is we're colonized. Right? So this isn't 100% this is going to work. Because we're dealing with colonists. We're dealing with what? Criminals. So, as an example, when we went to federal court, because we had to get into the ID, so it's not a club, technically.
I mean, it's their club.
It's not a club in the daytime during the hours they allow us to. You don't know what happens after.
We're at the front door. There's like 11 of us. Were you there? Were you there?
Yeah, it was for his case. Yeah.
No, it was for the province police. Were you there?
I was there.
Heather was there. So we got
Oh, yeah.
3 witnesses. So I'm lying. Fuck you today.
Lying you down.
So we try to get to federal court, federal building, so it's high status and stuff, right? We try to get in, you need an ID. European guard, I handed him my national ID card and a few other more, and started emptying our pockets to get in the building. He said, I'm gonna honor your ID, but you need a state issued ID. Wait.
Where was this?
Federal court.
Rhode Island.
Yep.
Why is it for his case we all walked in Massachusetts?
And some more they didn't even have an ID.
I already set the standards.
Yeah, but I had already filed a claim in Rhode Island, so they already know who I am. It's just they did that person.
The point of what I'm trying to make is that it's not, it wasn't up to his discretion. He had no choice. You understand what I'm saying? It wasn't like that one guard said, oh yeah, I'm gonna allow you.
Yeah, so this is what it is. We're still dealing with human beings. So just like
Incompetent
I don't
human
know shit
beings.
about car engines, he does. Right? So now if you come to me, start talking to me about car engines, I'm gonna be like this. Right? So we go to this federal building, this new marshal, he's new, he don't know what the hell's going on. Give him the ID, he says, I'm gonna honor it, but we need a state issued ID. So I'm saying, hey, Title 18, USC 1028D3 says that your laws, you have to recognize IDs issued by foreign governments. We're foreign to you. He said, I get it. I'm honoring your ID, but you still need a state issued ID. So then I said, well, United States Justice Department Criminal Resource Manual 1508 states that nationality card is superior to a driver's license, which isn't even ID, and they stated a birth certificate and personal ID. He said, what? I'm honoring your ID, but I need another state issued ID. So while all this is going on, we got 11 more in line trying to get in. The other marshals call their supervisor. Supervisor comes up, looks at the ID, doesn't even speak to us at all, looks at the ID, he says, let him in.
And one of us got in with a paper copy.
Yeah, and I had made Ellie a temporary ID on printer paper, just printed it, signed it, and like 2 years ago, and he just used it to get into the federal building. So it's not a cite these laws and it's gonna work 100%. We're dealing with human beings.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Noble Ali said, ask in an intelligent tone, and they'll be glad to render you a favorable reply. Because if we would have been in there saying, we're Moors and more lives matter, we would have escorted out real quick.
And it adheres to the Real ID Act as well.
So she mentioned the Real ID Act. Who knows what the Real ID Act is? Never heard of it? Yeah, so they're basically saying that you're not going to be able to get on planes
Oh, he's so
without
cute.
a real ID, and they state that a driver's license is not ID. And even certain cities are creating municipal IDs. And there's like a star rating system. So unless you get 5 stars on this ID, it's not considered a valid ID. But if you read the Real ID Act of 2005, it'll mention Title 18 of the United States Codes 1028D3, which mentions IDs issued by foreign governments. We are a foreign government to them. So in a situation with a club,
Over here.
that person's not going to know all of it. Because remember, we're dealing with, in the military, it's called a need-to-know basis. So if you're working at a club, not really involved in government positions of power, you don't really need to know what the law is. You just need to listen to those people who are claiming to be in power and listen to the laws that they tell you is law. So if they tell the club owner, don't let people in without a state ID, then that's what that club owner's going to do. He's not going to listen to you. Because they got a license to have that club. And they want to keep that club, to keep making money off you. You know what I'm saying? So we're dealing with a multifaceted, complex organism that thinks and breathes because it's composed of human beings. You know what I'm saying? What I find is that Moors see the United States as this perfect organism of perfection. We're dealing with human beings who have flaws just like you and me. It's just they're acting like, well, we're the United States government and, you know,
And don't get it twisted.
patriotism.
As they're teaching us, we're teaching them. Because in the courts where I'm at now, they literally have a blackboard up where they're instructing their lawyers, their DAs, and everyone to come to classes, law classes.
You're right.
I've been going to that court for years.
Right, not only that, the prosecutor assigns an hour. You could tell she's
Oh, Gabrielle?
she's
We've
lost.
seen it.
Gabrielle lost in the songs, has no ID. She probably just got her degree fresh.
She did.
You can still see that ink.
She did. On that paper. If you go, well, her Instagram is private now. Both her Instagrams are private now. But when I made it public, well, when it was public and I let everyone know about it, she had made it private, but she just passed the bar. She was working for, well, that don't matter. Any other questions?
I just want to point something out real quick. You see what the war does? It's something that other nations do, and we need as a strategy within the movement. You see how he said when she was public, she was private because he made her more public than she wanted to be. Same thing he did with the governor of Rhode Island, Gina Raimondo, right? Now you can't even Google certain things about her because the more here they're putting so much out there that we know her like she grew up in the neighborhood. We don't know them. They send letters to our houses, they tell you stuff about the car, whatever it is they do, we don't know them from a hole in the wall. Do any of y'all know any of them? But they run around like they know us. Right. They got your record, your thumbprints, your backgrounds, and everything, like they know you. Some of them can be where they know you're gonna be. It's time to change them. Just like how the war made it public, it's time for us to, any one of these people we come in contact with, any one of them that sends a letter to our house with a name on it, any of that, we make it public. We get to know them. We get to know them personally. Address, everything they live, their children, their uncles, their brothers, cousins. We get to know them. We get to know their social media site, where they work at, their favorite Starbucks, where they go do their workout. Get to know them. And it's all out of love.
It's all public too.
It's all public. It's all out of love. So look for that first. And guess what? That does help you know thy enemy. Right? Get out there, you know. Because then another thing too, like, real quick, I'm gonna let him go. Another thing too is I noticed, just he pointed out in the beginning when we came. A lot of Moors out here, a lot of Moors in the area, but y'all don't know each other. When I first stepped into this, it's a saying that we have up there. Y'all, we sit in our rooms and we scream more and we talk more. But when the little old white lady looks out the window, she's like, Moors, I don't see no more. That Bill across the street beating his kid again. I don't see no more. But in my neighborhood now, when they look out the window, it's Margaret. Yeah, the Moors are out there again. Yeah, they're out there doing stuff. Because I don't play around. Once I found out who I was out there, I said they're gonna know who I am. Because a lot of people ask, how do you declare and get recognition of your nationality? How else would you do it? But going out and letting them know who you are.
You want a drink?
I'm in the library like this. I'm in the supermarket like this. I'm in front of your girl's house like this. I'm on the pool like this. They know now I'm actually more like this. Now when they see me, I already told this story many times. They approach me differently. They approach me like a man now. Because they know what's going to fly out my mouth. It's not that, oh, stop racism, I'm black, help me out. It's not that. It's laws and codes that they know that I know that they don't want to hear me say. Because I can light them up now. Go ahead, take this one.
Yeah, I agree with what they're saying. I live in China, so two things. you have to play the part because it is public knowledge. So whatever you do here, they're going to follow in other countries. And so they come in here and treat you a certain way because of what they hear about Black Lives Matter, but they don't hear anything about this. So when you actually do that, it does become public knowledge. But it also helps you when you meet another foreigner. The second thing is too, you got to try to first see the public record of yourself. Find out how they're looking for your information and how they got your address personally. Sometimes it's in the contract and you consent for them to call you, and that information is just put out there. So once you understand that, then we do the same thing to them and put it out and share how do we make their information public without just using the social media. So there's other public platforms like the public notice. You go to your city public notice, you see so many different cases or people selling houses foreclosure. That's public notice. Sometimes if they're going to sue you, they'll put it there and nobody knows about the Star Ledger or the newspaper that's public notice. So if you can find that information and share that with the other brothers, then you can really see like maybe I shouldn't do this. This is what private really means, and I'll put out this. But I've been gone for 8 years. You couldn't find anything from the moment that I left. I stopped using the social security number, I stopped using everything, and then when I go back and search, I found every address I ever lived at. Just looking at a paid-for software, and you can find all your public information, even your relatives, your sisters, your brothers, all of that is right there. So you gotta be really conscious of your moves, and you gotta let people know that, hey, I'm not black anymore, I am a Moor. I never was black, and let me demonstrate it, so that way they won't harass you, because they know, like, okay, this is gonna be a headache. We go on to the next thing.
And for those who can't let go of the black thing, at least add the more to my black. Because it's still in the dictionary. Black or more. At least add the more to my black. You understand? Because there's a lot of us who can't let
He's
go
friendly.
of the black crowd. I get it. I don't want to take nothing from no. I've learned to not really snatch up people's emotions and hurt them like with the truth. You gotta be easy with people. But I mean that the black thing I'll let y'all keep it. But add the more to my black. Understand? Just like the dictionary still has it in there. Black and more. Don't take my more away from me. Go ahead.
Any questions?
Yeah, I wanna, you know, brother, like, when dealing with race.
We will be back.